Welcome back to the Local Live. I'm Rebecca Berman here in the studio celebrating our 200th episode of the Local Live with some Local Live alumni. Here with me are Ashley Billone, James Levinson, and Alexandria Garcia. Now, 200 is a pretty big deal, and you guys all played a role in getting us here. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you started working here with the Local Live?
I'm Ashley. I started at the Local Live when I was at Iona, and after I graduated, I volunteered for a couple of years. I'm now an associate producer at A&E Network. So
wow, that's great.
Yeah, so starting out at the Local Live has definitely been a great stepping stone for me.
Very nice. James?
Yep, and so like she said, I'm James. I started on the Local Live when I was a freshman in college. I came back in the summer, really sort of interested in video, TV, not knowing where to start, and it turned out this was the perfect place to start. And now I'm still in college. I just finished up an internship at Hardball with Chris Matthews on MSNBC and plan to graduate school next year.
Wow, so you're in DC?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Awesome. Alexandria? How about you?
I started volunteering and interning at LMC TV, I would say like 3 years after I graduated Iona. And that was like about 2 years ago. And now I'm a reporter for BronxNet Television.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's great.
So I'm pretty excited. So it definitely helped me with a lot of things and with networking other people.
And you're on camera, too. So you guys, working in media and getting your foot in the door, as you know, is really hard, whether you're graduating from college or in college, looking for internships. So what do you think the biggest obstacles facing aspiring broadcasters and journalists are?
It's very competitive. It's very competitive. I think, well, at least when I was in college, you know, we all knew it was going to be hard, but we didn't think it would be this hard or that competitive, you know, and especially coming from New York, being raised in New York, it's the #1 market. So a lot of times, if you want to be on air at least, you know, you would usually have to start off in a lower market in another state and then come back to New York. And there's very few that actually start in New York. So I would have to say it's definitely a hustle. But if, you know, if it's your goal and your dream to start off in New York, it just takes a lot of hard work and a lot of freelancing.
How about you, James? Even though you're in college, I'm sure you're still experiencing that, trying to get internships. And
Well, I haven't had to go for the particular hustle of finding an actual job yet, but for finding an internship, it still is pretty competitive. I was lucky enough to, when I got the chance to apply, that I got accepted, but just knowing everyone is looking for like an internship and everyone's sort of looking for one opportunity to one-up one another, go through. And it's a lot of commitment. I've talked to people who worked in the actual programs, and when they start out, it's 60 to 70 hours a week. You're spending 6 days a week in the studio doing things that maybe you don't want to do as much and trying to work hard just to be able to, you know, like pay rent. So it's a very difficult like profession and you really have to be dedicated in order to want to do it.
How far in advance did you send out your internship information?
I sent it out, I think it was must have been 2 months or so, and then sending out to like 20 different places or so, just trying to wait back for your response. And luckily I heard from a response, but it's always difficult. I sent out the year before like 50 of like different applications, and I didn't hear from any of them.
I guess it might be the age or the year in college.
Yeah.
How about you, Ashley? What are your experience with this?
I think a big thing to keep in mind is like television is a very visual platform, obviously. So being in the classroom and then transitioning to whatever you learned, whether it was reading a book or writing a paper, is a completely different experience than working in the studio, in the control room, or being in field too. So it's really hands-on and I mean, the studio is really your classroom. So just being able to adapt to different roles, I think, is extremely important.
And that's where places like the Local Live like really come in handy, because there's not a lot of places where it's very hard to find places where you can hone in on those skills by yourself, except if you're on your own. And this is the perfect place to sort of learn just the basics and the fundamentals, but just even going beyond, just creating your own packages. When I was talking to certain people, they were like, wow, that's incredible, because most of the kids who come in here really have never done this before. So it's always a great advantage.
Well, you guys, we're going to take a break, but we'll be back to chat some more. And we're back. What have you taken from the Local Live to help you guys along the way? Ashley, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think that communities with local television stations like the Local Live is a great place for anyone to start who is very serious or even intrigued into seeing what television is like, just because the Local Live, you learn different roles, like the camera, being in front of the camera, writing, editing, and as you know, if you are interested in pursuing television later on, or even in the beginning of your career, you'll easily find that roles, it's not just one role, it's like a 3-in-1 role, that they ask for multiple tasks because they're looking for one person who can do all this stuff. So definitely being able to take on multiple roles is a huge advantage, you know, in wanting to do well and succeed in television.
Right. How about you, James? How do you feel
honestly,
about it?
like Ashley said it perfectly, but if I could like add one thing, it would definitely be, you know, trust and independence that they put on it. So much of this now is not about, you know, working with like even other people, but it's more just relying on your own ability, because a lot of it is up to you as just being like a freelance journalist or finding opportunities. You have to do all that work yourself.
Right.
So it's really important that they give you that same idea that you can do all this yourself.
Right.
It's really
that's
helpful
great.
for in the future.
That's great. Yeah, they give you a lot of support here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's about being a one-man band, learning how to shoot, edit, be in front of the camera, not only wanting to be in front of the camera and doing well, but also doing well behind the scenes and getting that material and getting that footage and putting that together and making a story out of it. You know, not just presenting just facts. You know, it's the art of storytelling, and that comes, you know, with years of experience in due time. You know.
But you guys all felt they taught you that here.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially with honing, with editing, you know, I haven't edited since college, and when I started at the station, they threw me right into that, and I brushed up on my skills on that, so that was great. And with working with a teleprompter, you know, so that was also fantastic.
I think also learning deadlines too. Because deadlines is a huge factor, and especially whether you're working in daytime, nighttime, or it's pre-taped. I mean, you have to be quick, very quick, and learn, you know, how to do tasks on the fly in a fast-paced environment. So even though, you know, with the Local Live, it's not as quick. I mean, they give you deadlines. We need this, you know, by X day. So I think that's a great.
That helps.
Yeah, that's great to know as well.
It pushes you further. You know, you turn like a paper late, as you said, you'll get like a B or a C. But if you turn an assignment late, you may lose your job. That's the difference. And I'd much rather not lose my job than get
Exactly.
Okay. All right, great, you guys. Thank you so much. So that's about all the time we have for today, even though it was, I know you guys have a lot more stories. I have a lot more questions to ask you, maybe for another time. But Ashley, James, Alexandria, thank you so much for helping us celebrate this 200th episode. And it was wonderful having you guys back in the studio. I'm sure you guys love that too. And once again, I'm Rebecca Berman, and stay tuned for more of the Local Live.